Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys making some time out of your day to hang with me a little bit and check the video out. And guys, I got a story I want to tell you about something that happened at Lake Guntersville. Just made me sick. I mean, actually two things happened at Lake Guntersville that made me sick, so I think you guys will find this pretty interesting, so we're going to get into that in today's video. And man, today's a little bit sad. Today was the first day of school for the boys. So Elijah started third grade today, man. If you guys are a parent, before I became a parent, I always heard people talking about they grow up so fast, but once they get in grade school and the time flies. It's just like it's sort of a surreal experience to see how quick they grow up. So it's a little bittersweet this morning on that. And also, guys, real quick before we get started on today's video, just two things I wanted to remind you of. SolarBat has got that Independence Day sale going on my Signature Series glasses right now. 30% off, guys. And if you buy a pair, you get a free hard case. And also, if you use the promo code Randy B, capital R, capital B, get free shipping and handling. And try the high contrast yellow lens, man. This is my favorite lens right here. I wear most of the time. And again, I'll put that link in the description of the video. Really appreciate that. Okay, guys, this made me sick, man. Two different things. First of all, this is a story about a couple tournaments I fished at Lake Guntersville. A lot of people like to hear some stuff about the stories in the past here. Now, I've had a chance to fish a lot of tournaments on Lake Guntersville. I don't know how many tournaments I fished, but I fished a bunch of them. I think my first one was in 1987. Rick Clun actually won that tournament. Then I fished a bunch of other ones, Megabucks and Bassmaster Top 100s, Top 150s, Invitationals, FLW Tour events, just a bunch of events on Guntersville. And I had one event there that absolutely made me sick, and even sicker than the fact of the time, another event at Lake Guntersville, I led the tournament there after the second day and got completely screwed by locals the third day of the tournament. They came right on top of my spot and cost me probably winning that tournament. But there was another one that even stands out even more in my mind that made me even sicker that I wanted to share with you guys today. Now, one of the things about it, if you're only people that have fished tournaments forever like myself professionally can understand this, because you hear people talking about people like myself that are, older, even though I don't really feel old, but I guess I am, about how you get all cranky and bitter when you get older. One of the reasons that this happens to tournament anglers, especially older tournament anglers, is that the number of injustices, professional injustices that happen throughout the course of somebody's tournament. For example, I just saw a video yesterday, Roland Martin was talking about, he's won, I think, I can't remember, it was 15 or 18 Bassmaster tournaments, but he also got second place in 19 Bassmaster tournaments, which are tremendous letdowns. When you get second place in the tournament, most of the time you have the fish hooked to have won the tournament. So when this happens time after time after time again, you get jaded a little bit and you get bitter. And people that have not been in the sport very long, if they're young, they have not experienced those professional injustices. Therefore, they can't comprehend, or they don't understand why older anglers sometimes get grumpy and they complain and they gripe a lot. Because they haven't been through that. So anyway, given that, let's get back to this tournament I was talking about. That other tournament that I was leading at Guntersville, that was a Bassmaster Top 150 tournament. This was an FLW tournament that I was fishing on Lake Guntersville. I believe it was sometime in the early 2000s. It was after 2000, between 2000 and 2004, something like that, or maybe 2005. This was a March tournament at Lake Guntersville, and this was before live scope run the sport of bass fishing. So all we had back then pretty much was two-dimensional sonar. This was even before side imaging or down imaging. Back when bass fishing was real, before it became degraded from technology. So anyway, I was the grass on Guntersville at that time, it was a pre-spawn situation, and a lot of the grass on those big flats were growing about, I don't know, anywhere between 2 to 3 feet off the bottom. So you know, I love fishing that type of water at Guntersville. I love fishing grass flats there, and most of the time I've had my best success there with a jerk bait. But anyway, I got out on this one grass flat, and I was fishing some lipless crankbaits and slow rolling spinnerbait, throwing jerk baits and catching a few. And about that time, I picked up that Megabass flap slap. You know, you guys have heard me talking about it before. It looks just like a threadfin shad. I'll link it in the description, my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to pick one up there after you hear this story. But anyway, I put that flap slap on. This was the last day of practice. And on this flat, I was picking up one or two, like on the jerk bait and the lipless crankbait, about every, I don't know, 100 yards. And I put that flap slap on. Right off the bat, I caught 2 5-pounders on it, right off the bat. So it's like I knew they'd never seen that bait before, because it was pretty new. Megabass had just came out with it at this time. So I was pretty much, well, I know I was the only one that had it in the tournament. So obviously catching 2 5-pounders on a bait that I know these Guntersville bass had never seen before, it gave me a tremendous amount of confidence. So first day of the tournament rolls around, guys. Get out there, and I get out on this big grass flat. This is a perfect situation. It's a big grass flat right off the main river channel. It's large too, and it's got a lot of good cover. So this area's got a lot of potential to win a tournament. So I start fishing down through there right off the bat, and I'd fished maybe 15 or 20 minutes. And the first fish I caught was 6 pounds, 11 ounces. Big one right off the bat on the flap slap. Gave me a tremendous amount of confidence in it. And guys, to make a long story short, over the course of the rest of the day, I had 8 more bites. 8 more bites. Every single one of them was the same size as that 6'11" that I caught. With it, you know, 5 to 8 pounders. Every one of them, all big ones. I lost every one of them that I had on. So that first day of the tournament, I had one fish that weighed 6 pounds, 11 ounces. And I'd lose them everywhere. It's like I'd set the hook on the fish, and they'd come up and they'd jump off. And then the next one, I'd get it right up by the boat, and I'd get ready to lip it, and it'd twist off. Or I'd have one come right to the top of the water, and I'd see it, and it'd just pull off. I was just like beside myself. I couldn't believe it. And what I had done is on that flap slab, Megabass, Megabass comes with smaller hooks that are on most baits. It's like most of the hooks, if you'll notice on a Megabass bait, are about a size or 2 smaller than normal baits with the same diameter and profile of the bait. So that night before that first day of the tournament, I upgraded and I put bigger hooks on. So I got back that night, and it's like I just couldn't believe it. It's like I'm down, like, you know, towards the bottom of the pack. I'm like there's I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 guys ahead of me. And I'm just sitting there and says, I can't believe this. I should be leading this tournament by 10 pounds right now. Instead, I'm mired down in a 150th place or whatever like that. I was just absolutely disgusted at all these big ones that I lost. So anyway, I got thinking about it, and it's like, what the heck can I do different? It's like, these fish are there. What can I do different the second day of the tournament? So I didn't have anything to lose, guys, and I put the stock Megabass hooks back on that bait. This was the night before the second day of the tournament, and they were those out barb hooks, wire hooks. You know, you look at them, you think they're too small for the bait, and I went to a little bit softer tipped rod. To make a long story short, guys, I went right back out there to the same place that, you know, that I'd fished the day before. I caught the biggest bag of the tournament, my biggest bag that I've ever weighed in a tournament period, which was almost 26 pounds, 25 something, and moved all the way from 50th place up to, like, you know, 20 something in the tournament, and got a check. Driving home from that tournament, I was just disgusted, because I'd have won that tournament. It's like, if I would have made that adjustment, or if I wouldn't have changed those hooks out, and this is speculation, but I'm pretty confident, because I didn't lose any fish that second day. I had like 13 bites, and I got every one of them in with those smaller hooks. I knew that I probably would have blew that tournament away, but it was just something about upgrading the size of those hooks and the diameter of those hooks in correlation with that bait profile and size that was causing me to lose those fish. It was just one of those things that some type of a freak deal that I've never seen before. So that I've had a lot of heartbreaks in tournaments, and when you have a heartbreak in a tournament, they come in different forms, because the one that I had at Guntersville, what I'm talking about, that was like a delayed reaction, because I didn't know I was going to go out and catch the biggest bag of the tournament the second day, after I should have had the biggest bag of the tournament the first day. Some heartbreaks happen when you lose a 5-pounder right at the boat with 5 minutes left in the tournament. It costs you the tournament. But that was a hard one to take, man. I'm telling you, I've had lots of hard ones to take. You guys have heard me talk about some of them before, but it just goes to show you that that you never know as far as what is going to maximize your success on the water. It can be something, like I said, as simple as a rod action change, as a hook change, line, bait color, whatever. It's just like, that's why bass fishing is so freaking difficult. And that's one thing that I'll say about Megabass. Yuki Ito, who's the owner of Megabass and the main lure designer, one of the things that I always had a hard time was that I always felt he put too small hooks on the baits he makes. It's not true, guys. That tournament at Guntersville, that was the first time that I realized that you're going to land more fish with a smaller diameter, smaller hook, than you will with a larger diameter, larger hook. It's sort of counterintuitive. It doesn't really make sense, but Yuki realized that. It's about penetration. It's not about bite gap or the strength of a hook. It's about getting the point of that hook and that barb into the fish's mouth. And if you get that barb into the mouth of that fish, you're not going to lose that fish. And a smaller diameter, smaller hook penetrates easier. So one tip that I can give you guys from my nightmare at Lake Guntersville is, don't put too big of hooks on your baits. Don't use too big of hooks on your worms, crankbaits, whatever. It's hard to do at first, but if you try it, I can promise you you'll catch more fish. So anyway, guys, hope you're all well. Talk later. See you.